Whenever you hear that sound, especially on a Tuesday, you know what's about to go down. Office Journal is about to go down right here on Smooth 98.1, where we love music and we love life. Officially, I welcome you to your Office Journal today, Tuesday, 18th of June, 2024. And I understand that a lot of people are still on break. I totally understand that because coming to work again this morning is like, where is everyone? Where is Lagos? Although you'd see all the cars, but you know that people are not rushing to go to work. And I think that's fair. Tomorrow we go back to the traffic and everything that somehow slows down your schedule. Anyways, if you join us every Tuesday from 11 till 11:50, one thing or at least a number of things you can expect. You can expect education on different aspects of your life, your career, especially from your finances, which we're talking about today, to your much more. That's what we get to every Tuesday from 11 till 11:50 on Smooth 98.1. And my name is Oluwaseun. Today, I am excited about the conversation we'll be having. And I have one of my favorite coaches, especially when it concerns employee happiness, employee well-being, productivity, getting the best out of your work, and also your finances. It's why we decided today to talk about your salary because next week it's salary week. So before you look forward to collecting that salary, maybe, just maybe, you need to track where the other ones have been going to. And that's why we're talking about the topic literally is who is using your salary? I know, very dramatic, but trust me, it promises to be engaging, enlightening as always. And I have none other than the happy employee coach herself. She is an employee coach as well as finance coach, helping you to get the best out of your job, relationship, and your money, like I told you. Please make welcome Nneka Jethro-Iruobe. Good morning.
Good morning, Oluwaseun. Thank you for having me, and good morning to all our listeners. Happy holidays, right? So we're all,
Yeah,
at least for those of us in Nigeria, right, and then countries that go on public
actually.
holidays. Yeah, not every country does go on the this particular public holiday. So yeah, welcome to everybody.
Thank you for joining us again. And well, did you eat any meat?
I didn't
I
get
was
that.
actually, did you, how much meat did you get?
I'm
That
sure you can
look,
see the answer.
by the way, we're
Well,
live.
back when we get to the office, maybe something will happen.
Just maybe. Okay, I believe that.
Yeah. Okay. Oops. Sorry, I dropped my
All right, so
phone.
you can join us on YouTube, and that is youtube.com forward. It's okay. So that allows you to also view what's going on in the studio, see my face and the happy face of the happy employee coach. Also, you can drop a comment using the live chat option, and you can decide to come to my Instagram page as well. That is Oluwaseun. But we do have a WhatsApp line that allows you to contribute, to say anything on your mind, ask for clarification on the course of the conversation, and also ask your question if you have any. Now, the WhatsApp line is 0809 444 0981. Again, WhatsApp line 0809 444 0981. While the call line is 0201 448 9981. Again, 0201 448 9981. So let's get right to the business. Before then, I mean, I have a number of leave questions to ask. What prompted this? Because you have a book by the same name. Who is using your salary? What prompted it?
Usually anytime I go to speak somewhere, right, and I'm introduced and people hear the title of my book, they're like, who is using your salary? Like, what kind of question is that? Why would you be asking me? Of course I know, but what prompted it came from a place where when I started teaching people about their money, right, especially as employees, just trying to change that mindset that many employees have, that as far as I'm an employee and I'm earning a salary, I can't build wealth, right? That the popular saying, salary is the money that you are paid to forget your dreams, all those funny sayings. And I realized that many people, if they don't start getting it right from early on in their career, there's a problem. So I actually wrote this book to speak to the person who is new to a job, to the person who is an African employee, really grappling with the many demands and pulls from family, grappling with the demands to look like you've arrived, right? Like this work thing is making sense for you, grappling with all of that. And I actually wrote that book as a note to my younger self when I first started working. But then I realized that as people who had worked for years as well, people needed to understand that you don't have to wait until you have started earning that big salary that you want. Can you still hear me? It seems frozen from my end here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. If you can see me, I can hear
Okay,
you.
yes, I can. I can. It's back now. Okay, cool. So I was saying that. So I wrote it to like my younger self, to that younger Neka who was fresh, happy about the new job, grateful that a job had come out of and after NYSC. But as I wrote it, I realized that a lot of people also who had were working for years, were in that space where they needed to also understand that if you're not conscious about what's going on with your salary, you would work for 5, 10, 15 years and come up with the usual saying, or common, not usual, but common saying of, what have I been doing? I don't know what I've used my money to do. So that is what I'm trying to address. That I don't know what I've used money to do. Because I say to people that regret does not do refunds, right? Regret
Mm,
does not do refunds. So that's why I wrote that book, to just help people sit back and say, what am I even doing? And stop themselves early before you go too far in your journey of working. So that's why I wrote that book. Yes.
thank you. I like the preamble. And when we come back after this, I'd like to first help someone to understand. Well, you will be the one helping somebody to understand the need to maybe weed out that mentality of salaries are money you pay to forgo your dreams and the other things you mentioned while you were explaining. Now, if you're joining us for the first time, this is Office Journal on Smooth 98.1. And today we have the question, who is using your salary? We'll be right back. You can hear me well, right?
Yes, I can. I can. I like this your hairstyle. Oh.
Oh, thank you. So when we come back, we'll start from that point I mentioned. So we talk about the mentality of salaries, how much they pay you to forgo your, and the other stuff. And then we start to help them understand how they can see who's using. No, before we even start to helping people understand, we need to talk about family, the black tax that we did mention. Is it inevitable when you're trying to allocate your salary, your spending? How much should you allocate to siblings and mothers and fathers?
And
Yeah.
many people, in fact, the list, as I started
Yeah.
thinking about it, I realized that the list is longer than I could have envisaged, right? It's much longer. The list of people to give to man, I have a lot of fixing to do.
I have something interesting, a message from Will back. I'll read it on air.
Okay.
And we are Smooth 98.1. It's 30 minutes past 11 o'clock. You're listening to Office Journal right here on Smooth 98.1. And we are discussing the topic of your salary on Office Journal because I said we all know that if you receive salaries constantly, consistently, chances are that next week is your salary week, and that's the pride or proud week. I don't know how to say it, but then in Yoruba, they'll still say Biraga. So that's when you have lots of money in your hand. But I wonder if it's still the same thing with the inflation and everything going on. So, anyways, we're talking about the topic, who is using your salary? And before now, we had put the flyer on our social media platforms from Instagram to Twitter to our WhatsApp status. And in response to the flyer, somebody on WhatsApp, now I did not get your name, but the name here is Sweet Smiles. And the response is my baby, a very single mother struggling for her baby that was rejected by the father at conception. Then my younger siblings. In other words, those are the people using his or her salary. So that brings me to the question. Now, I know we were supposed to come back with the salary is the amount your pay to forgo your dreams, but I think we'll keep that in the box for now because we should jump into this. And it's the conversation of family. You've got siblings, you've got fathers, mothers, if you still have them, friends and all of them. Black tax, to just cut it short. Is there an allocation of your salary that should go to them, or it is just when they come up that you should give it to them?
You see, this
Are
issue
you
of
with
black
me?
tax,
Okay.
eh,
All right.
sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
I can hear. I heard your question. Can you hear me? Issue of black taxing. Ah, I
Yes,
started
I
teaching
can hear
people
you because
about
you can
budgeting.
see.
Okay, I can hear you. Is it back now? Is it clear? Can you hear
Okay,
me?
so it's clear, but for some weird reasons, I can hear something that sounds like an interference, like a radio wave interference. I don't know if you're using an earpiece.
Okay.
Oh no.
I don't have any radio near me.
Yeah, that
I
sounds kind of
don't know.
weird. Oh no. Okay, well, go on. Let's see
Uh,
if there's something that can be done.
I
Go
don't
on,
know.
please.
Okay. Okay, but you can hear
Yes, I
me,
can hear you
right?
well.
Okay, cool. So I don't know. I don't have any radio near me. There's no radio at all, so I don't know why. But let me carry on, right? When
Yes,
I said
please.
teaching about black tax, I came to understand this. I began to see how heavy it's a serious burden. And if it's a burden, it's something that you need to pay attention to, you need to address. So I started trying to teach people about black tax, and I realized from teaching that there's and that feeling of obligation that we have to help family, right? And it's because of how we grew up, right? As part of as part of the book, Who is Using Your Salary? That's the topic for today's show. I intentionally wrote about my experience with black tax, just a little bit of it. I didn't even go into detail because at the time I was writing, I didn't think it was that much of a heavy issue, but it was like I opened a can of worms with that thing. Because as I started teaching about it, people started asking me questions. Oh, people say things like, "Oh, my mother made me take a loan." People will say things like, "Oh, I should be." In fact, and maybe it's because I now became conscious of it. As I started watching movies, interestingly, I had some time yesterday, I picked up one series on Netflix. And I don't know, maybe it's now because I'm more aware of the black tax issue. The first few scenes, I was already seeing black tax, somebody being pressured to buy a share. And I was like, wow, maybe because I'm more aware of this. Someone commented on a post or I wrote on LinkedIn and said a family friend reached out to borrow money to buy a share that was half the person's salary, right? And I was worried for the person who was reaching out to buy that shebi. Not just necessarily because, can you not think? No, but from a place of, there has to be something going on in your mind that pressures you to think that if you don't borrow money to buy this thing, there's something that will go wrong, right? And then there's the pressure of family. The UK says that Nigerians are the people that travel and come in with the most family members. So that already sets the tone, right, for us as regards family demands for money. So I would say yes, it's part of our. I said all of that to make us understand that it's part of our reality. So let's just settle it, right? Let's just settle it. It's part of our reality. Black tax is real. So let's accept it. Let's not quarrel about it. If black tax is real, family demands are real. We have obligations to our families, right? Let's settle it. The second thing I would like to say to that is the fact that our parents and parental figures, right, who come in to help us when we were growing up, they gave their all, hoping that you have a better future than they did, right? They gave everything they could, every single thing. So if you approach their request from that perspective, if you bear that in mind as you think about their request, it kind of helps you to be a bit gentle about it and come from a place of thanksgiving. That's the way I want to say about. Like I say, come from that perspective. Be thankful that you even have a job and that you have family to ask for something. So that's the way I like to approach this from. Be thankful that you have a job, you have something bringing you income, and be thankful that you have family. When I hear things like, "Oh, somebody gave out their money to cats and gave out their inheritance to dog," I'm like, Africans, we don't roll that way. The people that are waiting, they are never waiting for you to wait that long to give cats. We don't. I mean, the people that are waiting in the value chain, there are too many. We don't. Do you understand? So I think
Yeah.
gratitude, and then thanks that I have a job, but also to set boundaries. I watched a powerful illustration of this, and there's a video I share with people when I teach about that Tyler Perry route, where he said his first few money that he made, the first few amounts of money that he made, by the time it was time to pay tax, he couldn't have money to pay tax. He didn't have money to pay tax because he had given out and given out and given out to family in the name of I want to help people, I want to get people on their feet. He was owing government because he had cleaned out from giving out. And you know, a boat that has holes will sink. So you must set boundaries, right? You must, and I talk about my experience with black tax in that book, using your salary. And I've even gone as far as creating something to help people. Over the last 2 weeks, I'm writing about black tax consistently because it's a real burden. So yes, it's a reality. 2, be grateful, and 3, budget and plan for it. That's what I would say as we delve into this.
Thank you very much. Now, I just need to get this little interference out of the way. So what I'll do is quickly take some of my magical wand, my technological magical wand, and then we try to fix things. And then we come back to that question of, is salary really the amount that you are being paid to forgo your dreams or not? And let's also talk
Mm,
about the amount that you ought to set aside. So if you're collecting 100,000 naira and putting into consideration the kind of economy where 10,000
yeah.
naira almost cannot cook a decent pot of soup that will take you for 2 weeks. So how much should you set aside? And you know, these days, it's almost hard for you to even spring out of the blues to ask someone to help you because everybody has something on their plates.
Mm,
So, what part of your salary should you keep for family, friends, the younger ones, and in case
yeah.
of emergence? We'll talk about that
Mm,
right after this. You're listening to Office Journal on Smooth 98.1. Okay, so let's do this, right? I will end the Zoom call and then start it again, and maybe you can join again.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. I
Wait,
will.
can you
Okay.
speak again?
I said
All
I
right.
will.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, I do have help. It's just that there's almost nothing much that can be done. Yeah, you know, when network decides to be crazy or when Zoom decides to be very mad, there's almost nothing you can do. Oh, interesting. Hello, I Patrick, Senior Shell. That brings back a number of memories.
This is Mr. C. And
Yeah, God rest his soul.
do you think about use like this? For example, disaster parties. It runs hot air, small for the big engine, like that. And Shaka and the German machine bends so tough like bodyguard. Guys are stop just stopping.
Please be better. Please be better. Can you
Hi,
say
hi, hi, hi,
something?
hi.
Oh God. Oh God. Sweet sigh of relief. All right, we're
I
back.
can imagine. Okay. Maybe I should also face the wall instead of the way I was here.
Firing back on. Love music and love life. You're listening to Office Journal on Smooth 98.1. Yeah, the network is being funny. The technology is not technologying, as Gen Z will say. But we say no because we need to have this conversation. And we say thank you to everybody who is on standby. I see you on YouTube. Thank you for being there on YouTube and being very patient. I see you on Instagram as well. Thank you for joining us on Instagram. Well, me,
Yep,
that
yep,
is
yep.
Oluwaseun R.Olusegun. And thank you for your messages as well. Habib from UK. So this is something very interesting. You wouldn't believe it, Ms. Neka. So he sent me a picture. We are coincidentally wearing the same jackets, literally the same jackets, except for the customization of the R here.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that is just unbelievable. So thank you for listening all the way, Habib, and thank you for that picture. It's beautiful, and thank you for the tip as well. I will be sure to take note of that next time. All right, so let's get right into the question. I see a call, but I might not be able to take a call at the moment because we need to quickly sort some issues. So, Mr. Neka, is salary the money you're paid to forgo your dreams?
So let me even tell you how I've heard this thing before, right? This question of is salary the money you're paid to forget your dreams? I mean, anyone that earns a salary has heard it, right? But I was talking one day about something unrelated on Instagram, I think Instagram Live, and somebody now dropped that comment that no, salary is the money. What is all this? And I said, wow. The first problem I have with that is that it's a mindset block. It blocks you to the opportunities available as an employee. Anyone in employment, in fact, one of the first t-shirts I did when I first started teaching about being happy at work was a t-shirt that read, I take advantage of being of employment. I had that t-shirt.
Mm,
I take advantage of being an employee. And it's because people go to work blind. They are literally in a headspace that says, I am here to make somebody else enjoy. There is nothing in it for me. You know what makes it interesting for me more is the fact that many of us, we gave testimony when we got these jobs. We lifted our hands to heaven and we told the whole world that, hooray, God has done it. I have a job. Fast forward a couple of weeks down the line, and then we are saying stuff like salary is the money you are paid to forget your dreams. And this is why it is wrong. It blocks you to the opportunities. And there are 5 things that you gain from employment, basic 5 things. And let me just share with you the skills that you are learning. When you finally leave that job or change jobs, nobody's going to stop you at the door and say all the things you've learned in this company, all the trainings you've gone through, offload all of them from your brain. It becomes part of who you are. Now, if you are conscious of this and you think like this, you will grab knowledge. You will be very intentional about learning and trying new stuff, right? Because you know what you learn, you become. Okay? It adds to you and you live with it. 2, relationships. I mean, I say this with tongue in cheek. I met my husband in the place where I work, right? And but I have also formed some formidable relationships, right? I've got some amazing doors opened for me through people that I met at work. And I recognize it as such. Many of us are getting great relationships, but we don't recognize it as such. We don't take that paid attention to the fact that it's this job that brought me in contact with this person. We don't pay attention to it, right? And also we don't give the job the credit for that. Okay. The third thing is you're getting a salary. You are learning and you are earning. You are learning and you are earning, right? You are making mistakes. The other thing that happens is that you have a platform to try out new skills. The first time I ever became was did a moderated for a particular event was at work. That was my first time moderating. Guess what? I did it again, and somebody saw me and said, "Oh, let me recommend it to somebody outside the office," and that opened an opportunity for me to sell some of my books. Do you see the link? And I am conscious that the first time this happened was at work. So, ladies and gentlemen, please, today, you can literally do this. I remove this cap of thinking that salary is the money I am paid to forget my dreams. And I say this with some level of sarcasm. Many of us say these things, salary is money and you are paid to forget your dreams. So you don't even have dream. Sorry. If I really ask you what else you wanted to be doing,
Wow.
you really don't have an answer, to be honest. But you just join this bandwagon of the narrative that says salary is the money I'm paid to forget my dreams. But I had dreams unlocked when I started working. There are things I have done. I am coaching and teaching and presenting because I have a job, and I've seen people who were sad at the job. I'm teaching them how to be happy at the job. I didn't have this dream of coaching people until I had a job. So some of us
Very fair.
we're just going on
I
and
think
on.
if there is one of the things that I in this journey of financial freedom, to me, I think salary or a job, a paid job, is like a vehicle, or better still, it's like a means to an end. Because, like you rightly mentioned, you get to learn a lot of things, relationship skills, and you're still paid while at it. Well, hopefully you're paid, and so many things. So, like you rightly mentioned, if you have a dream, I think the reason why it's called a dream is because driving force. If you have a dream, a passion, a vision that is driving you, cannot take it away from you. Thank you for that clarification. All right, now let's go back to the part where you have to allot some certain part of your salary to the black tax.
So I ran a poll a couple weeks ago, I think. I ran a poll, right? And it was a questionnaire I launched. I think it was a questionnaire where I asked people, how much do you allocate to family demands? Over about 50 people filled that questionnaire, and about 30% said they allocate between 5 to 25% ish to black tax and family demands for money. But interestingly, another 25% ish said they don't even know because the requests just come and they just keep dropping money and keep transferring money. They don't even know how much they allocate. I would suggest that you have a fixed percentage, right? And for me personally, and this is me based on my experience and engaging people, I would say somewhere around 10% of your salary at most should go to black tax. Now, I say that in with a certain level of restriction and control because I realize that black tax can take different shapes and forms. Sometimes there are medical emergencies, right, that people have got to deal with. Okay, so that can add a different twist to the demands for it. Sometimes it's a single income household, right? That can add a different twist to the demands for money. So I understand those things, and that's why sometimes you need to sit down and ask yourself, what is the framework for how I'm going to respond to black tax requests? How am I going to go about it? You may need to sit down and do that. What I don't want is people just going on and saying, I'm giving without anything in mind. Like if they just call, I transfer. Anytime they call, I transfer. Any story they give, I must give. Because many of us give from guilt, and giving from guilt imprisons. Giving from love liberates, right? When you give from guilt, you are in prison because there is no end to it. There is no amount that you would give that would be enough. You always feel like you're failing. You always feel like you're not doing enough. You always feel like, but if you give from a place of love and commitment to help, it changes the narrative, right? And when you are giving, right, please bear in mind, I saw a powerful illustration on Instagram, and my husband sent it to me, and I was like, just so powerful. Someone was illustrating how black tax can ruin you. Beyond the video that I talked about Tyler Perry, I saw this video where someone said, sit beside somebody, right, and try to pull them up. You are sitting beside the person, and while sitting, you are trying to pull them up. It's hard to do that. But when you stand up and the person is sitting, it's easier for you to pull them up. And the person was using that illustration to say that when you are on the same level with somebody and you are funding their lifestyle, you are doing black tax, you are consciously giving to them, you are ruining your chances of growth. Two of you will be on that level for long. But if you allow yourself a breather to grow and have income aside that can multiply and grow, then you are standing, and it's easier to pull somebody else up to stand. So in all your giving, right, remember that if the farmer gives out all his seed, he won't have the harvest for the future. Next year will be dry, right? And there's a post I wrote. I said to people that they will still laugh at you if you say it's because of you were giving that you went broke. Those people you said you were giving will still laugh at you. So bear this in mind as you structure, but create a structure definitely. Think around, as long as not a medical emergency, it's not a life or death issue, how you want to handle it. But I would say about 10%. But again, your realities may be different. That's what I would say.
Thank you. Now, if you have anything to say, you have the WhatsApp line open. You can also join us on YouTube where we're streaming live, youtube.com/smooth 981 FM Lagos. And if you're just joining us, we're talking about who is using your salary. And I do have the happy employee coach. She's an employee and finance coach. And we are talking again about salaries. So I have on WhatsApp Cisco Delgado, who says, good morning, and then says, bitter truth, salary is money paid for one to forgo his or her dreams. Funnily enough, salary is very addictive in the sense that towards the month end, one becomes sick like a drug addict if it doesn't come. Right from my university days, I have never intended to work for any organization or companies but to be an entrepreneur. Anyways, thank God for experiences acquired during my working years. And today I am very happy doing what I have passion for. You know, partly I do understand where he's coming from, especially when you're looking towards the salary being paid, because you already know that it will come. There is a possibility that it might make you sink into a place of complacency where you know at least something will show up at the end of the week. It's why there is a lot of tantrums thrown when the money does not come, and then people quickly resign. But let me quickly take a call. It's gone. Please call back if you can. 0201 448 9981. But do you have anything to add to that?
Let me respond to that, right? So I hear you. I'm happy the person was very balanced in what they said to recall that the experience from working years is helping them as an entrepreneur, right? Most successful entrepreneurs who have worked will tell you that the structure that being an employee gives has helped them to grow their businesses to succeed. And if all of us are entrepreneurs, who is going to work for us, right? Who is going to be our staff? Who's going to help us to build those dreams? Who's going to help us scale? Right, we're gonna have to hire somebody to do that scaling for us. And I say something where in the course I have a free course titled seven financial mistakes ruining 7 mistakes ruining your finances, something like that. And I say that one of the mistakes is thinking that salary is a leeway to laziness. Right, salary is meant to be a leverage. It's not a leeway to laziness. It's meant to be a leverage, right? So it's okay. You're right to say I've worked for 30 days, 4 weeks, and I expect to be paid. You are very correct. Okay. But I'm saying I say to people, how are you adding to yourself? Who are you becoming while you're on that job? What skills are you intentionally adding to yourself and making use of to help you to grow, to be more marketable and to be able to get more, right, as you grow? So yes, salary is okay to expect my salary, right? But are you using it as a leverage or as a leeway to laziness? It's really up to you.
Thank you. And that again is the voice of the happy employee coach, giving you tips on how to make sure you're happy and somebody else is not using your salary to be happy while you are sad. All right, I do have Clement Britishman on WhatsApp who says, good morning, Oluwaseun and your guest. Classic show as always. Thanks to your guest for doing a breakdown of this topic, who's using my salary. So let me see if I can quickly take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Sorry, I didn't hear your name. Oh, thank you for calling. All right, do you have a question?
I have a question. Prior to that, it's funny. Never judge by cover, by summer. That is exactly what's happening right now, which is in the she's a real authority and tradition, and I love. She don't do things.
I can't hear.
Sorry, Mr. Soji, I can't hear you well. Is it possible for you to take what you said again?
I said I quite understand all that is written so far.
Okay.
I personally have not realized that it do not just a book by its cover. Formerly, prior to this, I wasn't going to read, but now listening, and I enjoy all she has said. She does really listening about all these things, and it's a culture that factors into Nigeria to Nigerian growth. That family is high. You cannot breach it. We need to attempt it. Then the question is, there are times in those days when I had to go to the country, I had to make investment. Is allotment possible? How? And when how do you go about that? Thank you.
Sorry, before you go off, can you take that again? I mean, the question.
How did, say for instance, there was a time stop and left the issue of the place I was working with and sent me on board. They requested in which that I like to make acknowledgement. That is putting some part of my bracket down for some profit and mother care. How about it is changing or like what we have in now, the economy changing? How do we end this?
Okay, thank you. I'm still struggling to pick what she said, but if possible, you can also send it as a WhatsApp message because I think the network is playing pranks.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, we'll try to piece that together. Thank you.
Honestly,
I don't know.
didn't hear.
Okay, so I think he said something about being at work and allotting. Honestly, I'll do a playback of what I heard and see if we can piece that question together. Well, we'll take a breather, and when we come back, we'll get to talking more about who's using your salary and how you can protect your salary. You're listening to Office Journal on Smooth 90. It was a struggle, man.
I didn't hear.
Anila, did you hear?
Not at all. Like the network was, I think it was the network that was going. Earlier, the economy.
Yeah, economy. I heard economy. I heard training at work. Did you hear anything at all? I don't know. Maybe when we go on in the conversation, part of what we discuss will answer his question.
Hopefully.
But I was going to ask the question of how do you deal with a family member and friends that are entitled? I mean, we already have the theoretical knowledge of you need to protect yourself, right? You should give from a place of love and not guilt. But how do you deal with them when they are guilt tripping you? How?
Okay. I guess when we come back, right?
Yeah.
Material and external in waterlogged areas. And water damage to your property. The medium of exchange, the currency that flows through the veins of any viable economy. Tune in to Smooth 98.1 for a definitive weekly analysis and check on your income. Lesson number 1, the rich don't work for what it's all about. Your finances made easy. What a way to run your life. Personal finance on Smooth 98.1 every Wednesday from 5:15 p.m.
Personal Finance every Wednesday from 5:15 right here on the station that loves music and loves life. Right now, we're still discussing something relating to your finance, and we are discussing who is using your salary. Join us via WhatsApp. That is 0809-444-0981. That's the WhatsApp line that allows you ask your question. Now, if the network is being funny, you can always send a message. We promise we'll read that and we'll get that. Sometimes it's better that way. And we're sorry, Mr. Soji, that we're struggling to hear your question. But hopefully in the course of the conversation, we can answer what you asked. And if I go to YouTube, I've got some nuggets or some comments that are from those following the conversation. For instance, I've got Habib who said, giving from guilt imprisons, giving from love liberates, or deep. Then Godwin JP says, making sense. Again, the WhatsApp line is 0809-444-0981. Now, let's quickly touch on how you can truly just say to the guilt trippers and the ones who have an entitlement mentality to take a back seat. I don't want to say what comes to my mind. Yeah.
Oh wow! I think that's one of the hardest things to do, right? And I say that from experience. Okay, when people get entitled, and it's kind of ingrained in our system of thinking, right? It's the same thing where we say, oh, someone gets into power and their family members suddenly believe that everything good is coming their way. So for me, I see it as that's at the higher scale, and then the lower scale of it is when you get a job and people suddenly feel like they're entitled to your salary, they're entitled to getting stuff, right? I would say that you first of all have to have something more important you're doing with your money, right? First of all, if you get self-esteem, I sent an email to my email community last week or 2 weeks ago where I said, how many people are calling you big bros, big sis? If you get certain level of fulfillment, your self-esteem is elevated because somebody says big bros or big sis, right? It would then determine how you react to when they ask for stuff, okay? Because you feel obligated because that title is important to you. So that's one thing to also put into context, right? Now, the other thing is to say that so I've said about having something more important to do. Also understanding that if you don't pull yourself up and increase and begin to quickly use your money to create wealth, what I call wealth generating assets. If you don't do that quickly, you're setting yourself up as well for failure, right? And like I said, if you go broke, they will come after you, they will still laugh at you. So that entitlement, you then once you go past that, then you then need to now scale back. And so this is how much I'm going to give. And when you do it, determine what and when. Determine what you want to give and when. Don't do it haphazardly, right? Don't do it in response to every call. So a call can come in and you're like, oh, sister, the rain is falling, the mountains are moving. Okay, I've heard. When I have something, I will send. Before now, you would have told them, oh yes, I will send. Now you will now say, when I have something, I will send, right? You can even say things like, oh, as Nigeria be, as economy be. Do you understand? The other thing I say also is what sometimes we are the ones that cause the entitlement by the way we talk.
Mm,
I teach this in my course, and I say to people that the conversations that you have around family can be the issue. It can be
mm.
triggering the request for more money. Do you understand? So you've got to be careful the kind of conversations, the price tag, the things I said to my husband the other day. I did a transaction, and it was a transaction in the bank that I got this the pay slip, right? Because I have stuff in the house, I've put in the house. I was like, I made sure that I shredded that thing to shreds. Do you understand? Because I'm doing this transaction on behalf of a company. It's not that first someone will see it and pick it and say, oh, this woman has kind of money. Oh, sister, no. So sometimes the conversations, the things you are sending your people to go and do, your younger brother to go and do for you, your younger sister to go and do for you, is what is causing the issue and creating that entitlement. So there are a lot of things that you can do. And when you want to do that transition, it's going to be stormy. So get ready for the storminess. If you are going to get to the place where you say, you know what, I'm scaling back, I'm putting structure, I am going to give this amount at this time. I'm going to buy you data once in the month. If you like, finish it in 1 week in watching film. That's your business. I'm not buying another data for you. Because you have younger ones that all those kind of things. How can I not have data? Sister is I want this bag. Once in the month I will give you. After that, no. You understand? Because it's when you grow that you can help others grow. If we're all on the same level, none of us is going to grow. So it will be stormy. I've had that experience. The way I had to do a transition where and I write about it in the book, which is in your salaries. There, my story. How I had to transition from all my salaries available for everybody to use as they please to a structured way of doing it. It was very stormy. It was really stormy. Stormy that I can't even discuss on social media or anywhere else, right? But it was stormy. But we all finally got past that where there's structure and where everybody's now doing, I'm a firstborn African child, right? So there was that demand,
Assistant parent.
so yeah, it will take a bit of storminess, but prepare for it, but put structure around it. It will help you and separate your self-esteem from how much you give.
Mm, that is a beautiful summation of it. Separate your self-esteem from how much you give. And that is one of the problems, fundamental problems of a lot of people. Now, as we quickly round off, is there any tip? I guess we would enter a little bit of bookkeeping and documentation because I assume that for you to know who or what is using your salary, where it is going to, if it is actually B or it is your shoes, you might want to write how much you spend when your money comes in. So can you touch on that, please?
So I say to people when I coach, I say to them that go and download your bank statement for the last 2 months. And every time you have to do this, people are like, gosh, coach, why? I say, yes, why? Go and download it and see where your money is going. One of the most liberating things I like about my coaching is when I teach people to reduce the amount of cash they have on them, nameless cash. I've gotten the most interesting feedback. People say to me, my salary I did not used to make sense is now making sense. I'm like, yeah, because you carry cash without a name about. And before you get home, money is currency is designed to flow. It would like the t-shirt I have on says money go they carry they go where you don't know. Money is designed to flow. So once you have nameless cash on, it will go. It will go. So the first thing I'd like to say to you is number one, go and download your last 2 months statement. That's number one. When I take people to this exercise, they see how much they spend on family and friends, on shoes, on bags, on hanging out, on food. That's number one. Number two is now decide to do things up front, right? Which is budgeting. Plan how much you would give and when you would give it. Okay.
Mm.
So every 26th or 27th, so that they can also know how to plan and know when to expect from you, right? Then set your criteria for who you would give. Define it. Don't just be anybody that calls and says, it's your brother's, uncle's, this, that, that, right? And be clear as to what you give for. Is it a medical emergency? Is it for living? Don't go and be giving somebody rent money year in, year out for where they cannot afford. Interestingly, one of the questions I ask people is anybody that you have given offered a job in exchange for black tax instead of giving them money, and they said no. And half of the people that filled that questionnaire said yes. So people are I feel like we just come entitled somehow. We come entitled, right, as human beings. Sometimes maybe in Africa more so. But please download your account statement and then reduce the amount of cash you have on you. You'll be amazed at how much you start saving. I also have a template that people can access. It's
Thank
completely
you.
free. They can access that on my LinkedIn page, on my Instagram page. It will wake you up. You will see how you're using money. It will help you audit yourself. It will.
Before the more you to where you don't know or where you don't want to go, as we say it. The constructionist on WhatsApp says, "Good morning, Oluwaseun. What an educative show you're having. Black kills black businesses the most because many people are trying to raise their family members out of poverty when they are still rooted in poverty. I think people still need to understand that poverty is not really the lack of cash. You
Yeah.
can have money and still be poor. So
Yes.
when you're trying to give money to someone who has a poverty mentality, it's such a great disservice." Francis Kenny on WhatsApp says, salary is a taskmaster, while being self-employed is the master. The salary being paid to workers does not take anyone home in Nigeria. Please do not allow anything, salary, family, wahala too much, place too much demand from friends to hinder you from getting you to your goals. Be disciplined and decisive. Thank you for your comments. Unfortunately, we have to wrap this up. We have to go. But guess what? We would have Miss Neka again in July talking about one thing or the other. And it's always a mind-blowing session with her. Thank
Thank you.
you. And
Thank you for
thank
having
you.
me, Oluwaseun. Thank you.
So the Happy Employee Coach across all social media platforms.
Yes, and my name Nneka Jethro-Iruobe on LinkedIn, the Happy Employee Coach, on Instagram, the Happy Employee Coach. Yes.
And if you're just joining the stream, you're just tuning in and you're just listening to us for the first time, guess what? You have the stream on YouTube for you. So you can share with your family and friends, or maybe that person who's constantly making demands from you. Just send the link to them. Don't see anything. They'll watch and get the message. I did not say that. We'll be back next week on Office Journal from 11 till 11:50. My name is Oluwaseun Olusegun. And on the other side, from 12 p.m. till 4 p.m., I'll be playing you African music all the way. Oh, that was fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having
So,
me.
July, we'll have you again.
Yes. Yes. We'll be
All right,
back.
we'll work that out.
Yes. Yes.
And
Thank you,
hopefully
Oluwaseun.
the network does not become as
Yes. So
stormy as
today it was
this.
really doing the most, but hopefully it's better. That it will be better. It will be.
Yeah, it will be. Thank
All
you.
right. Take care then. All right. Bye.
Bye.